Hey friends, Terry here. A windy day in Texas, so hopefully the wind doesn't mess things up. But we're here making another video exposing the false teacher Todd White. Yes, Todd White, who calls Benny Hinn and Kenneth Copeland his spiritual father. Todd White, the one that has paid himself millions of dollars. Todd White, the one that lives in mansions, drives dune buggies, on and on and on and on it goes. But we've spent hundreds of hours preaching out in front of his compound. We've talked to probably hundreds of Todd followers, and we've got something a little bit different. Over the years, quite a few of the Todd people have reached out to me. A lot of people have come out of the teachings of Todd White, and we've yet had another today, a man named Reese, who I've literally, gosh, I probably spent 4, 5, 6, 7 hours with him over the years, talking about Todd, talking about just the heresy, talking about the extortion with him. And this guy was the ultimate defender of Todd White. He was a super smart guy, super passionate. And that's really the problem with guys like Todd White, is they find really passionate Christians or people, baby Christians, and they ensnare them. And anyhow, Reese today reached out to me with an email and said, here's how it ended. So he actually goes through how he was trespassed to where he wasn't even allowed at Lifestyle Christianity anymore. They went and called the police on him. And I guess this is kind of a normal thing that happens at Lifestyle Christianity. But he made an impassioned kind of video blog to Todd and his wife, Jackie, about some of the things that are going on there. But I think this will be eye-opening. You'll hear it right from, this isn't a guy that's, you know, maybe dabbled with Todd, but he's gone through the entire Lifestyle Christianity, paying the $5,000 tuitions. He was in year 3, he was an intern there, and you'll just hear it from his own mouth. You'll hear the confusion, and that's unfortunately what these false teachers bring, is confusion. And so we really need to pray for Reese. This guy is super passionate for God and has a heart to serve God, but you can still tell in this video that he's still bound in the teachings, the false teachings with Todd, and he still views Todd as a great man of God. But look for yourself. If you have any friends that are considering paying $5 grand to go to Lifestyle Christianity, share this video with them. I think this is a really good behind the scenes, here's what's going on at Lifestyle Christianity.
Hey Todd and Jackie. Hey, this is Reese. Oh, it's good to see your faces. Well, I guess I don't kind of see them, but I see them. So talking to you through the glass, it feels a little strange. I don't think I've ever had a conversation a little bit like this, but I figured this is the easiest way to communicate and just say hi. Yeah, I wanted to reach out to you guys. I was trying to reach out and see if you guys could do a FaceTime or do a messenger where we just talked for a minute, but I know with all this stuff going on, it's probably hard to carve out time and do that kind of stuff. I know over the last 3 years of being at LCU, we've probably had a combined sum total of maybe 5 to 10 minutes of a conversation if you add them all together over 3 years. But anyway, it is what it is. So Sarah and I love you guys. We love your family. Both of you guys are welcome to watch this. I know I'll probably send it to Jackie through Messenger, so it's just more of a one-on-one conversation, like Matthew 18 or something, but where it's just direct, because there's really not an easier way. And Todd, I apologize. I know communicating with Jackie directly without your permission is not really honoring you that well, and I don't even have a way to really ask you if that's even okay. So if it's not, just have her message me back after this video, and just I won't do it anymore after that. So. But the reason I wanted to reach out to you guys, it was on my heart. I mean, I know with LCU, all the changes and me being asked to leave, I kind of went down the road of just trying to process through what led to that, what created that storm that caused that to be necessary, where I wasn't welcome anymore. And I've kind of reached, I guess, the conclusion through talking with Ben and talking with Chris, over the last couple days, and then processing with just really the people that were involved, with Randy, with security, and then and with Adam, because he was partly involved in the stuff that happened that kind of led to the ending of the internship for me, at least. But I just wanted to share with you guys just parts that maybe you didn't hear, or maybe that never got communicated to you. I know that not a lot of the stuff makes it all the way back to you guys. I've even found out through this process there's specifically been meetings where people were told not to tell you guys what they were seeing happen inside of LCU, which to me would be a red flag, just working with a lot of businesses, that they wouldn't want the father and mother of the house to know what the kids are up to. But I understand kind of the guarding of you guys' hearts, and I understand the wisdom that's behind it, but I also see the fruit of what that leads to when you guys aren't in the know of what happens when you're gone, or when you're not around, or how people are treated when you guys aren't in view. So all that to say, I know in this whole ordeal, I have absolutely loved my time at LCU. I mean, it's produced more good fruit in my life from saying yes to that, and it's the only ministry school I feel like I'm gonna go through. It was the one school for me. Attending that changed my entire life. I mean, it started off really bumpy. I mean, it got crazy even the first semester. I don't know if you guys ever knew this, but Todd, the night that you got on the phone with me, that I had Chris and Ben and Ezra at my house doing deliverance, I had prayed an hour before that. I just said, Jesus, I'm done. I break agreement with anything in my life that's not you, and if it's not you, I don't want it in my life. Come and fill me with you. And that started that deliverance process. Like, I got hit with something that I started dancing around my house, singing "We Will Dance on the Streets That Are Golden." I started worshiping, and then every nasty whatever stuff that wasn't Jesus came to the surface. And for the next 3 hours, I ended up on the phone with you at one point, telling you I could smell you through the phone. It was really strange. I could smell your dreadlocks, but it was a wild night. I mean, I could see in the spirit, you and Todd, I'm talking to you, but to I could see Todd and Chris. I could see you guys talking through my walls of my apartment, walking in the breezeway, pacing back and forth together, like in more of a shiny spirit form. And I kept telling Ben, who didn't know what to do with me at the time, I was like, hey, Chris and Todd are out there in the breezeway. Tell them to come in. Like, they're welcome in my house. And they're like, you are absolutely crazy. Todd is not out in the breezeway. And I just kept telling them I could see you. But it was wild. It was fun. And I woke up in the psych ward the next day and actually felt like I had been born again, which was intense. And then the fruit of that was I was never the same after that night. So I really appreciate you taking the time that night, even with what you did, to walk with me along that step in my journey. And I've absolutely loved LCU. I've loved every bit of it, the good and the bad, the good fruit and the bad fruit. I know all led to where we're at now. And so one of the things I wanted to just kind of show you, or just to have you look at, that's happening, and I think I've been watching. I saw David Wagner today, which was amazing, and I've been watching the sessions still as kind of an online student from the distance that I'm allowed to be with the school, with the current situation. And I noticed just that that fear, it destroys, like the bad fruit that it's produced. That fear is it's caused so much damage on so many levels. And I know part of it came in, this is back probably 2019, I think part of it even came in with Isaac when we went through that whole thing where you got a word of knowledge that someone wanted to hurt people at the school, and Isaac stood up, and it was one of the most beautiful restorations I've ever seen in my life, where the whole student body just surrounded him and loved on him and prayed that thing out and prayed the Holy Spirit in. And I just watched him be restored and get married to to Emily and see their whole journey now, and just saw that being willing to not just throw him out in that moment. But I think the side part of it that came in with that is just that fear of threat of life in the building. And I know I've never felt in danger at LCU. I think some of the ways that I've acted have made people perceive me as a danger, but my intent was never to hurt anybody. And the only threat that I would have ever really been in that building is to the devil, no matter who he operates through, myself included. So if he was operating in me, I'm gonna take him out, or just let Jesus come and take him out. But I think that the biggest problem I see, and it's producing a lot of bad fruit, is that, I guess you could call it fear of death or fear of hurt or whatever, that has us operating LCU with more security than we do pastors inside the building. It's just causing the children in the house to fall, whether they be attacked or kicked out or outcast or just mistreated. I've watched staff be mistreated. I've watched students be mistreated. I've watched ambulances be called when all we probably needed to do was pray to see healing. And I know we have to protect, and we have to guard, and we have to keep safe, but I know that it also says whoever tries to save his life will lose it. And I know that we're losing so many students to this thing, and I know I'm part of it. Not just me being gone, but me just watching what happened this last year, and how we lost Caleb along the way. Caleb was my co-leader in my life group, and he was there with me with Autumn, and we started out this year, the 2021 school year internship, all leading a life group together. And Caleb got taken out in the process, and I know he had run-ins with security, and he got kicked out the same way or similar to me, just asked to leave the property or fired from being on the property or whatever. I mean, you can clear that story up with Leslie. It's not mine to retell. But I went to go see them in Alabama over spring break, just while I was asked not to be at the school and on the property, and not to be an intern. I just went to Alabama and drove and prayed with Leslie, prayed over Caleb, and we didn't see him wake up. He just laid there on that ventilator. And I know I have a part to play in that. I'm not going to let guilt, shame, and condemnation hit me with that, but I know that when his car broke down the first couple of weeks of school, and I could have given him a ride, but I didn't, because it was inconvenient and it was a little far, and it would have required me to drive a little bit more, and I didn't give him a ride, and I didn't pour into him like I could have as the leader of that life group. And he was one of my life group members. He was one of the children that I was entrusted with stewarding. I know I've learned a lot from it, but I know if I could look back and see clearer now, it was just stewarding better. I talked to Caleb. I talked to Caleb on the Thursday before his car accident. He and Leslie came to Belong, and I just talked to him about his life. I heard his plan for Valentine's Day to propose to Leslie, and I heard he had the ring, and he was so excited to get married to her, and he was so excited to do this next chapter of his life. And I know LCU was the right place for him to be, and I know he ended up, through his own choices too, not being there for this semester when he could have been, and it cost him. I mean, it cost. He's asleep I'm still believing for him to wake up in Jesus' name, that resurrection life will touch his body even right now where he's resting, and he'll come back. But I know that's not anybody's intention. Like Caleb is a piece of fruit in a tree. I mean, you can see all the fruit in the grapefruit tree behind me. We're just all pieces of fruit on this tree called LCU. But it's just the problem that's in the building is it's not just fear. It's also pride. I had it in me. I still sometimes have it in me. I'm not perfect. I mess up a lot. I've messed up a lot in my interactions with staff. I've messed up in my interactions with students. I messed up in my interactions a lot in conversation because I don't throttle or filter or really think about things before I say them. So I apologize to you guys. I mean, any way that I've done wrong to you guys, I repent. It wasn't my heart. I appreciated you guys giving me a chance when I messed up back the first semester, and then kind of walking that road with me even when I messed up again. It was never my intention to get deceived or tricked, and it was never my intention to cause an issue at the school. But I just see stuff happening in the school that doesn't line up with what we say from the stage. And I just want to know, like, can we just be genuine? Can we just mean what we say and say what we mean? I listened to Encounter Sunday night. I just sat there and thought I heard you say at Encounter, I want to have people come from the hospital and be healed at this school. But I brought Christian to the school, Todd. I brought him there because his mom asked me to. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do it. His mom said, will you just go lay him down on the front row and just get people that believe to pray for him so he'll be delivered. And so I just tried to bring him into the building. And Adam got involved. You know parts of the story. You've heard from Adam, his view and his part. But my heart was just to see him set free. I didn't know what the best process for that was. And I didn't know what the solution was. And I know I messed up along the way with that. I've apologized to his mom. I've apologized to their family. I've apologized to him. I'm learning how to do this stuff. And LCU was the safety net. They were the area where I felt the safest to practice it and have a lot of people around me to catch me if I screwed it up along the way. But I know when I brought him in there that night, it cost. I was asked to leave the property for bringing somebody that had spent 50 days in a hospital on a feeding tube into the building for healing. And I was asked to leave by security and asked not to come back onto the property until we had a meeting. And then that meeting was prolonged and avoided for 2 weeks after I asked the next day, can we please meet? Can we please resolve this? Can we please not let the sun go down over and over and over again and get this thing out? And I asked, Lord, what is this? Like, what is going on? Why are we attacking people for stepping out in faith? And I just heard him say it's because there's more of a fear of a lawsuit than a fear of the Lord. And it broke my heart. I thought, that can't be God. It can't be true. This is the building with the most passionate people about Jesus I've ever seen. It can't be true. So then the 2 weeks went by after I heard it. I sat in a meeting with Chris and with Ben and with Randy and with Alonzo, sitting in open view of all the coffee shop staff as they closed down the coffee shop after school. And with Ben's wife, Deidre, sitting on the couch about 10 feet away, and I just got blasted for bringing Christian to the building and how it was wrong and how it didn't do any of it right. And I asked, do you guys want to hear what happened or why that even happened that way? And they said, no, we've got all the details. We don't want to hear it. And I said, I just want you guys to know that his family, I've talked to them. He's not in the hospital anymore. He's back home. But his family has said they're not going to sue. They're not going to sue Lifestyle. They've been in ministry over 40 years each, his mother and father, and they know they're not going to sue. They believe in Lifestyle. They've gone on Power and Loves with you to London, Todd. And they said, we're not going to sue the ministry. And in the meeting, Randy just said, well, I hope we can get that in writing. And I just realized, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we building? What are we building at LCU? We care more about the legal ramifications of stepping out in faith than we do the fact that we should be. My heart breaks. I love the school. I love what it stands for. I love what it's doing, but I don't love the ones that are getting taken out because of the pride and because of the self-preservation and the guarding the brand rather than guarding the children in the house that are trying to help build it. I love Lifestyle. I love all of the students. I love all of the staff. I love them all, but I don't love the ones that are getting lost along the way. I don't love that we lost Caleb along the way. I don't love that we lost Joseph along the way. I don't love the ones that have been taken out before their time. Caleb was not supposed to be taken out. And the last result of me Googling him is a weapons possession charge by him getting arrested in January of this year because he wasn't at LCU. We weren't discipling the children well. And that one can be on me. I was his life group leader. That one can fall on me. I was his friend. I just don't understand. Because Sarah got it so much more beautifully, and I hope I don't say it wrong. But Sarah's sitting processing with me because she doesn't understand all of this either, and why we're enemies of the building, why we're outcast and not part of the family. I mean, I had you hug me at the beginning of the semester, Jackie, in the fire tunnel, and you said you're a family of this house. I haven't felt it. I haven't experienced it to be true. I hear the words and I believe them, but the fruit's hard to tell that that's true. I look at how we treat people with security that come in, and I just watch and I think you couldn't reproduce your testimony in LCU, Todd. You were able to run past security and run past green room doors and get to these anointed men and women of God and get time with them, and there's no way that would be allowed at LCU. There's no way. Randy would have them tased and down on the ground before they could ever get to you. We brought that in. We brought that in out of fear. Fear of saving a life. And it's costing a lot. Not just in salary, but in students. So many students have been kicked out of the school. And I get it. Not all of them are walking in the right direction, but a lot of them just, I'm one of them. I just needed some more discipleship. A little more discipleship, a little less discipline. We're great at discipline at LCU, but we don't take the time for discipleship. I processed with Ben, and I told him, Ben, I know the question I asked about Chris is the reason why I'm gone. And he confirmed it. He said, yeah, that question was out of line. I said, Ben, all I needed you to do was pull me aside and tell me. You didn't have to kick me out of this school because I asked you guys to be more honest about what happened with Chris. I wasn't trying to be malicious. My heart was to see the truth come into the light rather than hide. It was just blamed on Chris's family, like as if the attack on his family was the only reason he was leaving. And all the staff knew that wasn't true. Ben knew that wasn't true. But we communicated to the student body in such a way to try and preserve the brand and preserve the ministry and preserve what? It's just that, and all of that happened to you guys while you were on your vacation. It's like while Mom and Dad were sent away on vacation, the kids wrecked the car into the house, and then they caught the house on fire, and then they tried to just say it wasn't a big deal, and it cost a lot of interns, it cost a lot of staff. It shouldn't have costed that. That ultimatum cost. We flip-flopped so many times. We say in year 1 of LCU, we're not a church, we're a school. And then we say in year 2 of LCU, we're going to become a church. And then we say in year 3 of LCU, pick one church. Why can't we just be the church? Why can't we be a risen nation that walks out in a mercy culture that has a lifestyle of Christianity? Why do we have to brand it and put a logo on it and build a camp and build a wall and get a security team and guard the leaders? And I mean, what are we doing? Todd, I mean, you have one of the most powerful testimonies in the room. And Sarah saw it. My wife saw it. She just said, how can the man who, when he was in his most lost state, have God show up in his car and yell, I took those bullets for you? How can he hire so many armed people in bulletproof vests, thinking God won't take those bullets for you still? And please know my heart's not against Randy. I love him. I know he's a product of the system that we've built. He's designed to perceive everyone in the room as a threat and treat every person he has short interactions with like they're a threat. But he's taken out a lot of good fruit in the process. And I forgive him. I know he doesn't know what he's doing. I know he doesn't know he's even doing it. I know when he kicked Caleb out of the building, he didn't know. I know he didn't know Caleb was going to go the route he did and make the choices he did. But Caleb's asleep. He just needed a little more discipline. I mean, a little less discipline and a little more discipleship. If we really step back, we really look at what we're building, is the foundation worth it? Is all the students who have left offended because they were mistreated or misunderstood or misjudged with a lens? And don't get me wrong, I took part in it. I repent. I sat in pastoral meetings where we said it's not gossip, and then we talked about students. We talked about their failures, but we didn't have the decency to put them in the room. We wouldn't have said the same things about them if we were willing to put them in the room. It was gossip. We just labeled it. We just labeled it different. We did the same thing, Todd, that you've seen in green rooms over and over again. We talked about people behind their back, but we're pastors in a pastor's meeting, so it's okay. I watched those meetings happen. I watched them at LCU. I sat there as an intern, and I thought, is this okay, what we're doing? Is this really the heart of the Father to talk about someone's addiction to cocaine rather than just bring them in the room and break that thing off of them? Could we not have just brought them in the room and laid hands on that student and just seen him set free like we did with Isaac? He's restored because we were willing to lay hands on him and just forgive him and let the blood wash him clean. Those meetings grew. They started as pastor intern meetings where we talked about students, and they grew. Then they became 3-hour-long staff meetings while you guys are in Hawaii, where they tear you guys apart and they talk about you without you in the room. Everyone's after the splinters and no one cares about the planks. I'm guilty of it too, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This has been a 30-minute video that I didn't know where it was gonna go. I just hit record and I just started to talk in the middle of an orchard, in the middle of a garden. Just look at the fruit, though. Just test the word and look at the fruit. I know I don't have a relationship with you guys. I know I'm just another student who went through the program and got the certificate, got the piece of paper.